皆さん、こんばんは。坂巻です。How are you? I hope everyone's well. Today, I'm going to talk about the second half of Hiragana lessons. So that will be part 2. And I hope you have watched the video of this Japanese B1 Hiragana lessons, part 1 already. And you've been practicing most of hiragana characters that I showed you in part 1. So today we're going to talk about part 2. So I'm going to quickly go over these. But as we talked about the last time, there are a few things to remember to write hiragana, katakana, and kanji well. Including shape of each character, the balances of different strokes, stroke orders, those are which one to write first, second, and third, and fourth, and so forth. And lastly, stroke endings. There are 3 types. One is full stop. It's kind of like how you write your alphabet. But the second one is called gradual. We call it harai, which is gradually lifting your pen up. And so that the stroke ending looks like thinner toward the end. And the third stroke ending is a hook, which is hane. So it has you stop your stroke and then quickly lift your pen up. So it has a little hook at the end. So those are some of the important things. And I shared with you a few links for the tutorial videos, but feel free to find something that works for you. There are many, many resources to memorize hiragana characters, to how to write them. So please use those help. All right. So we started to learn from the vowels a, I, U, E, O, and I believe we have covered these characters, ha, hi, hu, he, ho. And then we talked about a few hiragana and katakana special rules. One was if you add 2 dots, we call it ten ten because dot dot. On the right shoulder of a character, not all of them, but just some of them. For example, Keiro, kakikukeko, or S, sa, shi, su, se, so. T also, ta, chi, tsu, te, to. And H row, ha, hi, hu, he, ho. So if you see those characters with 2 dots on the right shoulder, then we're changing the sound, not the vowel, but the consonant to G. For example, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. With 2 dots will be ga, gi, gu, ge, go. S sound, sa, shi, su, se, so. With 2 dots to ten ten. Then it'll be za, ji, zu, ze, zo. Ta, chi, tsu, te, to will be D sound. So da, ji, zu, de, do. But notice these shi ten, su ten are ji and zu. So are chi ten and tsu ten, ji, zu also. But most of the time, you can use, if you want to write ji or zu, please use shi ten or zu su ten. Chi ten, tsu ten, they exist, but we really hardly have any words that we would write ji and zu with these. So if you're not sure, write ji and zu with shi sound, and you'll be fine. All right, so that's what I wrote here. And ha, hi, hu, he, ho with 2 dots. Ba, bi, bu, be, bo. So these 4 rows, you can add 2 dots, not other ones, just these. In addition, there is another little mark that you can add to H, ha, hi, hu, he, ho, to circle. We call it maru. Maru means circle. On the right shoulder, just a little one. Then H sound will become P sound. Pa, pi, pu, pe, po. So H has 2 dots or maru and changes the consonant a little bit. And so that was as much as we did in the part 1. So let's get started on part 2. We're going to first finish the new characters. So we're going to go over M sound. So ma, mi, mu, me, mo. And if I didn't write anything, then these are all tome, so it's full stop. So ma, they're all full stop. And there are 2 lines, 1 and 2. This particular font shows you that the first or the top line is longer than number 2, but you can also write those 2 about the same length. That's fine. But make sure you do a good job of this little loop here. It's not complete, it's not a circle, it's more like a teardrop shape. And right here, the bottom of the this loop and the ending of the 3rd stroke kind of line up. Okay, so don't go too far down. And me looks like, sometimes students tell me it looks like capital H, like cursive. But we have a little line here and then go down. There's another loop here to make sure you make a teardrop shape. And this is tome. And then with this long part, you're going to cross number 2, the 2nd stroke, with harai, gradual. So that's me. Mu has a 3 strokes. And the first one is a short horizontal line. Number 2, the 2nd stroke, you're going to cross, and then you're going to have a oval shape loop. And then you're going to come back to the right side, and then you're going to go up with harai, gradual. And then it has a dot or the little short line on the right shoulder. So that's mu. Me looks like a pretzel. First with this one line. This is not straight down, but it's tilted to the right. And then number 2 is tilted to the left. So they meet here, they cross here. And number 2 is a long stroke with round and round and round, and it's harai. So if you keep going, then it'll close this oval shape, but you're going to finish this number 2 with a little bit of short of closing this oval. So that's harai. And mo is kind of like she, right here, she, but then there are 2 lines crossing here, 2 and 3. So that's a mo. The next one is a Y row. We used to have yi and ye, but now we just use our vowel, e and ye, e. So we just learn ya, you, yo here. So ya has a very narrow hiragana tsu looking thing here. That's number 1. It's harai. Number 2 is a short dot or short line on the right side. This looks like a hook, but again, this is just a font style. So with the hand written character, you can just have tome, full stop, very short. And number 3 is crossing right here, but again, it's not straight down, but it's to the right. You had 2 strokes. You may have seen this with just 1 stroke. It keeps going right here. So number 1, here it's gradual and going up like this. But if you keep going and then continue to the second, um, that's also you, and you may have seen it, but I think it's easier to write you with two strokes. So I'm going to show you with this. So straight line coming around and then going up, that's harai. Number two is also a harai, and you're going to cross right here and right here with the first stroke. And you're going to the left a little bit. So that's you. Yo is both tome, short horizontal line. And number two, you're going to touch here, okay, the beginning of the first stroke, going down, and just like ma, you have a tear-shaped loop, and then end here. So this has a little bit longer ending, but if you can line them up, the bottom of this loop and the end of number two, I think that looks nice. That's a balance. That's ya, you, yo. And this is a full row with ra, ri, ru, re, ro. So this is, we have to write it with R, but it's not ra or ri. You're gonna touch your tongue, the tip of your tongue on to the bottom of the roof of your mouth, and just instead of going, you're just gonna go once. La, 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 ri, ri, ri. It's almost like it sounds like a D sometimes. All right. So it's something in between rolled R and the D. La, ri, ru, le, lo. And these are the characters. So number one is harai right here, ra. And number two, it's kind of like number five, without the first part of it. But make sure this is gradual. And also right here is longer, or this ending is shorter. I think number five, you will go, longer a little bit, but make sure it's shorter. D looks like E, remember, like two lines, but this is long and skinny. So, and then also number two is harai. Number one is hane. And this looks like one and two are a little bit at the different height, but you can also write start number one and number two at the same height. It's up to you. Ru has a loop, so it's like a Z with a round part, and then there's a loop here. Again, it's a teardrop shape. All right, and de, as we have seen in ne in N row, so that's very similar. Long vertical line, zigzag, go back, go up a little bit, and instead of going making a loop, this is going to be a harai to outside. And make sure this part is pretty pointy, pretty sharp. It's not round. Ne, you don't have to make it pointy. You can, but this is definitely a point. Okay, has a little point here, and it's going harai. Lo is similar to ru, but it doesn't have a loop, but it just keeps going with a gradual harai ending. So that's lo. And the last three characters, yay. So wa, and then we do not use other W row, like we, woo, we. We do use wo, but when we pronounce it, we just say o. So I'll show you. Wa, remember, le, it's very similar part here. So long horizontal, no, vertical line, zigzag, and then this one, instead of going outside, it's coming inside and gradual. So that's wa. O is a little bit difficult to explain, but let's just look at one stroke at a time. Number 1, horizontal line. And number 2, it's not straight down, but we're going to go to the left like this. And then coming down here. So 1 and 2 are crossing like here. And number 2 and number 3 are going to cross right here. This looks a little bit like tall, but not. It's a little bit more complicated. But that is a O. And if you remember, we do already know O as in a, I, U, E, O. So this O has a particular usage, which I will explain a little bit later. So O, as for O, we have 2 characters to write, and you have to choose the correct one, depending on what this O does. All right, but anyway, this is how you write this particle O. And then the last character is and is the only consonant that independently stand alone with a consonant. If you notice, other ones are either just vowel, a, I, U, E, O, or consonant in the vowel combination, but this is just and it looks like H. So start with tilted line here, and H, I think you would separate this more, but right here, it's you're kind of coming back up, trace it back, then you're making a dip right here and then going gradual ending. So that's all right. So let's review those rules. So as we talked about a little bit, 2 dots we can have with a certain rows consonant. So K, S, T, H, these are the one that you can have 10, not the other ones. And if you're not, sure, or if you are not, if you don't fully understand it, please ask me in the email or come to my Zoom office hours. I'll be happy to explain it. Sometimes if I explain things a little bit differently, students understand better. So please feel free to ask me if if there is any point that is not really clear to you. All right, and then we have, in addition to 2 dots, 10, we have maru, only with H. So H will become P sound if you put a small circle on the right shoulder of the character. All right, so, let's practice how to read it. So for example, if you know this character, what this, sound or the name of the character, therefore the sound of it, and then also if you remember what these 2 dots do to the consonant, then you can, read this. So without 10, this is ta. So ta plus 10 will be da. So this is da. And then this is e. All right, this character without 10, if you remember, it's ka. So with 2 dots, it'll be ga. And then this is ku. So to read Japanese hiraganas, I think, first, it's easier if you sound it out rather than just think in your head. So, it goes like da, I, ga, ku. And when I show you words, usually you already know these words, so you should be able to figure them out. If I want to use word that we haven't learned yet, then I'll tell you what the meaning of it. So what's daigaku? We learned that in lesson 1, vocabulary. If you remember daigaku as university or college, you're right. This is how we write daigaku in hiragana. Of course, a lot of words we use kanji if you are old enough, but we're starting from very beginning, so we are just writing everything in hiragana. All right, number 2, 2番. So these first two, you should know, because there is no 2 dots. So it's to, mo. Oh, there's another ta, but then wait, there are 2 dots. So ta will become da, and this is chi. So to, mo, da, chi, tomodachi. So if you remember that from the lesson 1 vocab, it's friend or friends. We don't care how many. It's the same form. All right, so that's friend. And number 3, so I will be quiet for a few seconds. Try to figure out what this might be. What do you think? So this actually can broken up into 2 parts. First 3 character, ni, ho, Nihon. That's Japan. And shi tenten is ji. So, and then this is so jin. Jin is ending for a person or people from a certain country. So a person of Japan. So that's a Japanese person. Nihonjin. So if you figure that out, it's great. 4番, number 4. Okay, what could this be? So again, this has a country name and some kind of suffix. So that's a clue. What do you think? Right. This only has the very new character just right here. Otherwise, these are old from last week. So if you can figure this out, ka, ko, ku, ko tenten will be go. So Kankoku go. So Kankoku is South Korea. Go is the suffix for the language. So Korean, well, the language of Korea, Korean language, that would be Kankoku-go. So this is how you can combine different characters and make different words. So now we can write, many, many things in, well, you can write everything in Hiragana now, once we learn, since we learned all the Hiragana characters. How about number 5? So ko plus 2 dots will be go. And then this without dots is se. So se, tenten will be ze. And then this is So go, zen, gozen, as in AM in the morning. All right, so this is similar. So we already know ko, but it's twice. Go, 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 go. So that's PM. And next one. So this has 2 dots. Without it, that's te. So te, T sound will become D sound. So de, this is new. This is also new. This is wa. So de, wa, denwa, telephone. And this is actually a sentence, and it's a question. First one, it looks a little bit different from the handwritten character, but this is actually separate. These two separate in handwriting, but this is na, lots of and te tenten will be, as we saw here, it's de, su, ka. Ka makes a question, and if you remember from vocabulary lesson 1, nan or nani is what. And des, right here makes it like it is or they are, and this is a question. So this translates to what is it or what are they, depending on what you are pointing at. 何ですか? 何ですか? So what is it? And as you notice, our period after a sentence, it's not a dot, but it's a maru also. So if you see maru on the right hand shoulder of H sounds, then that makes H sound, P sound. But if you see it on the bottom like this, then this is a period. It's the end of a sentence. Okay, and this is another rule. It's a small two rule. So as you know, this is two, and sometimes you see two written smaller. So in that case, you're going to look at the following character and look at the following consonant, and you're going to make it double. And therefore, this two would become silent, and it skips a beat. So let me show you. The first one here, this is E, tsu, te. So this two is the same size as E and te. So we're going to read E, tsu, te. It's not a word. It's just a combination of sounds. But the second right here, can you see two is smaller than E and te? In this case, I would read this as E first, and then I notice, oh, this two is small. So this is not two anymore. It's telling me to double the next consonant, which is a T sound, right? Because this is te. So we're going to do ite, ite, like this. So Japanese language has a way to write silence. It's kind of cool, right? So this indicates, okay, don't say anything. So skip a beat and then you go to the next sound. So eat, like this. And you already know greeting that would use this ite. So this is the third one. Ite. If you see it, this is key. I know it looks different from the handwriting, but this is key in a certain font. And then ma, I think it's new. And then su, kimasu, ittekimasu, ittekimasu. Do you remember when you say this greeting? When you leave your house or your office, somewhere that you belong to, and you come back. Literally, you're saying, I'm going and coming back. So that's ittekimasu. So that's how you write that itte part. And also this next one is, it says, please wait. So that will be, so this is ma, it's new, and it's a little bit smaller. So I'm not going to read this as two, but I'm going to look at this, what consonant this is. Oh, another T sound. So, matte, 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 matte. If it's just two, ma and te, it's mate, mate, mate. I hope you hear the difference. And then if you add ku, ta, ten, da, this is sa, i, kudasai, then you're saying, please do something, or please give something to me in my hand. So, matte kudasai, or please wait. And just to show you small tsu, a word that includes small tsu, I chose a tail. So this will be shi. Okay, now this is small, so I'm not going to read this as two, but I'm going to look at this. Oh, the new rule. So ho maru will be po. So shi, skip, po, shi, po, shi, po. And then there's des. Okay, what kind of a tail is that? Okay, as you might know, neko is a cat. And no is kind of, we call it a particle, and it's kind of like of, but the word order is reversed, and I will explain no more in lesson 1 vocabulary grammar slides. So you're saying it's a cat's tail. Neko no shippo desu. Neko no shippo desu. And other nouns that has small tsu might be ki te. That's a stamp. Like you put it on your letter when you want to mail it. Ki te. Or this one, ni. Oh, it's small, so I'm not going to read anything, but I'm going to look at the following consonant. This is a ki, so it's a K sound. So I'm going to double K sound. Ni, ki, ni, ki. And next one, this means magazine. Oh, by the way, nikki means a journal, like a notebook that you keep your record every day, supposedly. That's nikki. And magazine will be, sa ten ten. What's sa ten ten? S sounds will become Z sound. So sa will be za. And then this is small. So I'm going to skip and look at the next one. That's she here. So double the S sound. The, she, the, she. So that's a magazine. So now you know, and you probably have seen these small twos somewhere before you learned this. And you must have been wondering, why are they small? Now you know, and what to do, how to read that small two as silence. And then we have long vowels. What I mean by that is like e, u, e, o. So most of them we are just going to write or e as here twice, u, e. However, when this a sound is not just a vowel, but let's say like se or ke or me. So as you can see, so consonant and a sound. Then if you want to do that, like you want to say se as in gakse, then you have to pronounce it with a, but when you write it, you have to write it with e. So it's not gakusei when you pronounce it, but when you write it, you have to write gakusei. Kind of same thing with o. If it's a vowel, o twice, then you can write o. But other ones like ko, or so, then you write that character, and instead of another o, we would write it with u. Why is that? My guess is we used to say ko for everything, like or gakusei. We used to say gakusei, but language tend to get lazier and shorter and easier. So I think we just decided to just lengthen this vowel and say gakusei instead of gakusei. Same thing with like ohayo. Now, to say good morning, we say ohayo. But we write that with ohayo u, and that's probably how we said it long time ago, but now we change the speaking, but the written language just remained the same. So I can show you. So this, how would you read that? Sa and then a. So sa has a at the end, so you're just gonna make it longer. Sa. And this is a sound we make when we're not sure or we don't know the answer to. Instead of, shrugging your shoulders, because we don't do that. That's an American gesture, I think, or a Western gesture. So we say sa, sa, as in I don't know. So that's sa. So this is this kind of pattern. Ah. And this one, e, e, e. So this will be no, e. So when you want to lengthen this e sound, then you can just write two e's. E, e. So this is no. And number 3, so this is oo. So right here, this pattern, oo, and we haven't learned this, but this is a very casual no. Like, un. So it's very too casual to teach you at this time, because I would like you to learn the polite language style first, but you might hear like un in anime or something. So this is how we would write twice. And then this one, it's just a vowel twice. So eh, if you go down with a circle, then that's like yeah, casual, yes. But I tried to show you with a question mark, so you go then you're surprised. Yeah, you hear something and you're like, what? That's eh. So, and typically we do not use a question marks, because we have a way to write question. So, however, when I want to make sure that, or we want to make sure that you understand this is a question, we could use question marks or exclamation points. But that's a rather casual writing style. Typically or traditionally, we do not use question marks or exclamation points, because those came with English language. So we just use maru, period, for everything. Okay, so this is the one that I told you a little bit about. So gakusei. So when we say it this way. Gakusei, gakusei for student. But when we write it, we need to write it with e here. So that's what I mean by this one, this pattern. Because se is a e ending character. So if you want to do se, then we have to write that with e. But pronounce it with gakusei. Same thing with so desu, as in yes, it is so. So it's not o anymore. It's so, s sound and o sound. So if you want to lengthen that o, then we're gonna have to write that with u, like ohayo or so desu, as in it is so. This is how we write, we pronounce it, but this is how we write it. Okay, long A. So I tried to show you the long A as we looked at A, that's two A's, the vowels, so you can write it. But once we start using like ke or se or le or let's see, right here, another se, then we're going to write that ke with e sound. E character. Sensei, but we use E. Or kire, so kire, that's how we pronounce, but we write kirei, which means pretty. This is actually an exception. One-san is in vocab in lesson 1. It's older sister. It's really one-san. So you would think we would write with one-i, but this is an exception. So this time you can write that with e. But then when you write something like gakusei, a student, you have to use e here. All right, so these are some of the interesting long vowels that you have to kind of remember. These e and then o to write in a special way. All right, so I just showed you here with the Romanized text how we can read it. So So please go over the slide and try to read it by yourself and see if you can do it. All right, and then this is the long O examples. So as we talked about, if it's O, then you can use O twice. But here, Ohayo, instead of yo O, we have to write that with U. Arigato. So definitely when we speak, it's to O. But when we write, we have to remember to write that with U. Koko, high school, right? So again, same thing. Or, ごちそうさまでした。ごちそうさまでした。But you see u here. And this we talked about a little bit. そうですか。そうですか. So with ka makes a sentence into a question. So そうです is it is so. But if you say そうですか, then is that right? Is that so? It's a question. But again, so, but when we write it with so, again, there's a little answer key here so you can check. And one more rule, which is small ya, you, yo rules. So now we know how to read or don't read small two, but you sometimes will see ya, you, yo in smaller character too. So when Y sound hiragana is written smaller, the preceding, remember two, we have to look at the following, but with ya, you, yo, we're going to look at the preceding, what you already read, but you're going to erase the vowel, erase. For example, ki, you, u, ki, you, u, ki, you, u, three sounds, three characters, okay, because this is the same size, just you. But sometimes you're going to see you written smaller, like this. So then you read ki, fine, but then when you say you, we're going to ki and you really fast, right here. If you say ki you very fast, then it'll become cute, cute. And then there's on the u, so you're going to make that longer. Q, as in 9. Okay, we'll go over numbers soon, but this, if you are to write Q, number 9, instead of this, but in hiragana, this is what it looks like. Q. So whenever you are not sure about how to read it, the Y sounds smaller, then you just have to go faster. So for example, this one, ki, you, u, ki, you, u, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But this is really ki, u, 2. So if you just say ki, you really fast, it'll become one sound. Okay, I'll show you. Ki, you, u, ki, you, u, ki, you, q, q. So if you repeat after me, you can do that. Okay, so let's try. Ki, you, u, ki, you, u, q, q, right? So that's Q. And last example, she, ya, she, so that's 4. She, ya, she, But if you see she and a ya smaller, then you're going to take out this vowel, so it'll be sha, right? She, ya, she, that's 4, but she and ya really fast, sha, right? Sha, she, Shashin, so it's 3. And that means photos. Okay, so you will see these often. And this chart shows you how these small ya and small u and small yo combinations might be. So like ki and ya really fast. Ka, ka, kyu, yo. So I'm going this way. Ka, kyu, kyo. Okay, she and ya y sound. Sha, shu, sho. Chi and Y sound, cha, chu, cho. Ni and Y sound. Nya, nyu, nyo. H, kya, kyu, hyo. Well, actually, it's he. Mi, mya, myu, myo. Rya, ryu, ryo. So it's D, but then Y sound, you're going to take out these I's. Gya, gyu, gyo. Sorry. G, so it'll be ja, ju, jo. Bya, byu, byo. Pya, pyu, pyo. So these are possible sounds with the Y sound. All right. And these are some of the things you can practice. So you can read, practice. Actually, the answer shows. So I need to change the animation order. But you can practice how to read it, figure out what it says. And also 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, it's actually to. Oh, there should be another O here. Sorry, I'll change it. When I share the slide with you, but this video, sorry, with the error. So it's Tookyo, it's Tokyo. So it's not Tokyo, it's Tokyo is a Japanese way of saying Tokyo. All right, and how about thank you? So write these, practice these, and then check the answers later on. All right, and particle wa and o. So I shared with you that if you know the name of the letter in hiragana, you can read it. And that's true for the most part. There are two characters that has two ways to read it. And wa is one of them. Well, actually, no. Ha is one of them. So phrase particle wa, which I will teach you more about in the grammar section. But wa and o, this is also particle. They are used a different character. So if you have to write wa, then you're going to use wa as in, toward the end, the one we just learned, right? However, we're going to have to use ha for the particle. And in this particle, wa, if you see a noun and wa, it's ha, but you have to read it as wa, then you're presenting a topic. You're telling the other person, this is what I want to talk about. For example, watashi. So watashi, that's me, right? Wa, so you have to read it as wa. And you might be thinking, okay, how do I know this character is written, is read as ha or wa? You will with more practice. So for today, if you can remember, particle wa is going to be written with ha. That's all you kind of have to learn today, right? And I'll show you more examples later. All right, so I want to talk about me. As for me, Nihonjin desu. I'm a Japanese person. Okay, so I'm not talking about other people, but I just want to talk about myself right now. And watashi wa Nihonjin desu. So it's not always a subject. In this case, it is a subject, but just remember, what does not always mean a subject. It's just a topic that I want to talk about. And O, as we talked about a little bit, here's the O here. This is a regular O, as in a, I, U, E, O. So this is written with this O because it says osushi. So sushi. When we want to be polite, we call sushi o sushi. So, or you might notice we put o for some nouns in order to be polite to the person we're speaking with. You can say sushi, but osushi is a little nicer. So again, watashi wa, so as for me, not other people, but just me, osushi o. and then 食べます。食べます is to eat. So this O indicates what I will eat or I ate. So, to sushi. So I eat sushi. So that's what I'm saying here. But this O, we're not going to use this O again because this is a particle O, which indicates presenting an object, which an action is done to. So again, in lesson 2 or 3, we're going to learn more about O. So I wouldn't worry too much about this right now. But if you can remember, particle O will be written with this O. That's all I ask you to remember for now. All right, so these are all the one in the middle is a basic hiragana, and then what's around it is might be tentens. Right here is maru, and then we have small y sound and small y sounds here. There are too many small two combinations, so we usually don't list them. So these are, now you can read all these. So, just a few weeks ago, you didn't, you were not really familiar with hiragana, but now you can read any hiragana writing that you see. So that's exciting. All right, so these slides are just to review. So, I showed these things before we started learning any hiragana. So maybe before this really didn't make any sense, but I hope it does now that we learned all these. And also, you might thought that this might be C, but it's actually it's she. This is not T, but chi. This is not two, but two. So if you know these, that's great. You'll learn so much in the last couple of weeks. And I know it takes time to remember these hiraganas, but please keep practicing. And soon I will ask you to, show me your writing, these things that you wrote by yourselves. And I'd like to, take a look at that. So that would be the lesson. And this just shows you what it looks, how characters look like if we use a brush, like a calligraphy, or maybe like a very soft pens. So these are, this should be something close to how you would write with a pencil or a pen. All right, so this is the end of hiragana lessons. So as I said, please keep practicing looking at them. So I would like you to be able to tell what these characters are. So if you see "a," I want you to be able to say, "Oh, this is "a." And also, if I ask you to write "a," I would like you to be able to write. So those are two different skills, reading and writing. And I know it takes time, but if you can practice, 20 minutes every day, I think it'll eventually become easier. And we keep using hiragana as well as katakana and kanji as long as you study Japanese. So, these efforts that you're making now, it'll pay off for the rest of your Japanese learning life. So I hope you will take this as a challenge. And if there is anything I can provide you with, I'm looking for this material to learn hiragana better. I mean, let me know. I can look for that, or maybe I can make it too. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and happy reading and writing. Okay, so now we went over these vocabulary words with the pictures, and I hope you have a way to either print out these sheets, or you can use your Apple Pen or other stylus to fill out these things. I prefer that you handwrite this because you can practice writing hiragana. But if you don't have a way to print out these charts or tables, I would accept the typed work as well. But so what I mean by that is look at English, right? College, university. How would you say that? 大学. Okay, so Romanize, you can write 大学 like this. So you can show me how to pronounce it. But then whereas it's hiragana, I would like you to write in hiragana. So daigaku. Not in kanji. This is kanji. So I have a Japanese keyboard. I switch back and forth with English and Japanese. So it does this. But um I want you to be able to read it so you can change back to hiragana. I want to see this, not the kanji. So how about high school? Koko. So this is how we would write. Sorry, this is how we would speak. Koko. But we talked about long vowel. O u. So it's ko u, like this. And then when you write it with the Romanized text, you can use like this. Ko. So I know how to pronounce it. Okay. So on and so forth. So if you can do this for the rest of the words and turn it in by a certain date, I will write when that is due. That'll be great. And if you can do this, I think you must feel pretty confident that you know how to say these words as well as how to write it. So I know this takes a while to write it in hiragana because we just learned hiragana. So I'll give you probably a week or so, so please work on that little by little. And if you have questions, let me know. Also, in the modules, I have complete sheet of this. So let me see if I can show you. So if you're not sure, then you can actually, look at that and then, use it as a guide. I don't mind. I'd rather, have you look at the answer and then, figure out like, oh, that's how, we would write it. Okay. Found the vocab sheet, lesson 1, complete. It's a version 2, the second edition, second version. So this is in the module under vocabulary materials. So if you're not sure how to, how to say them or how to write them in Romanized text or hiragana, please refer to this so you can learn how to, write these things. Because as I understand it, I mean, these are a lot of hiragana characters and also new words. So I rather have you, learn it as you go along rather than, turning in something with a lot of blanks. And also always let me know how I can help.